All right, looks like we're ready to go. Welcome everyone to our second episode of our two-part Expert Insights series. I'm Bob Ruffolo, founder and CEO of Impact, and I'm very honored to be here with our very special guest, Karl Sakas.
Bob?
Karl is an agency consultant, speaker, and the author of The In-Demand Marketing Agency. Karl, welcome.
Thanks so much. I'm excited.
So Karl, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, as a consultant and coach, my work focuses on helping digital agency owners eliminate growing pains. They're typically growing really fast, at least 30% a year, some 100, 200% a year, and they're running into growing pains. And I help them eliminate those through operations, strategy, and leadership consulting. I'm based in Raleigh, North Carolina, yet work with clients all over the world. At this point, I've helped agency owners in 6 out of 7 continents.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that about you.
There are no agencies in Antarctica, so I think 6 will be about it.
Yeah, but we're actually planning on opening up an Impact Antarctica office.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, I think that's in the plans for Q4 this year.
There we go.
So, Karl, I've recently read your book, the In-Demand Marketing Agency. I saw you at Inbound. The book looked awesome, so I bought it, read it, loved it. And I know you work with a lot of agencies, but one thing that needs to be said is that book is definitely not just for agencies.
That's totally true. It really applies to anyone in a professional services setting where your work relies on selling your expertise. So I focus the book on agencies because that's my target market.
Yep.
But indeed, it could work for lawyers, for accountants, for architects, and others.
Absolutely. And it's for anybody that's looking to generate business from their speaking opportunities. So it's a quick read. It's an awesome read, and I definitely highly recommend it.
Thank you. I designed it to be readable in about 2 hours. So you can go through it 2 hours or so, and then always go back and refer to key things as you're working on creating your talk, getting more gigs, and getting follow-up business from the speaking.
It took me a little bit longer, because as you know, I took a lot of notes as I read it, and I shared those with you too. So, but great read. And I tell you, a lot of what I learned from that book, I'm applying the way we're running our upcoming event, and also the way I'm presenting at our upcoming event, which is called Brewing Marketing and Sales Success. For anyone that doesn't know what Brewing Marketing and Sales Success is, it's an all-day marketing event hosted by Impact on June 3rd at the Stony Creek Brewery in Brantford, Connecticut. And Karl, you know this because you will be speaking there.
Yes. Looking forward to it. Excited to be speaking about customer retention.
Awesome. Go and tell a little bit more. Tell us more what you'll be speaking about.
Sure. Well, my talk is on the 3 magic words to grow your profits. And I will give you a preview of what those 3 magic words. Those 3 magic words are warmth and competence. Awesome.
Well, that was actually one of my next questions that I had for you is, can you talk about warmth and competence means and how does that apply to improving retention?
Absolutely. So it comes from the book The Human Brand by Chris Malone and Susan Fisk. And the idea is that every interaction we have with other people, with companies, with brands, ultimately is going to fit into a warmth and competence continuum. So you could be high, medium, or low warmth, and high, medium, or low on competence. And the ideal is to be high warmth, high competence, to succeed at both. Ultimately, that'll help you retain more customers, more clients. You can also apply it to retaining more employees as well. The competence side is, are you doing the work well? If you're hiring an agency, are you delivering things on time, on deadline, on budget? For another business, it could be just, are you getting the job done that customers or clients have hired you to do? The warmth side, though, is something that a lot of businesses struggle with, which is it's not just getting the work done, but helping clients or customers feel like you actually care about them, that you value their business rather than just seeing the client or customer as a number where you're just trying to make as much money as possible from them.
So why do you think businesses have such a hard time being warm and being competent?
So oftentimes it's that they're not making it a priority, priority to create a great client or customer experience. In my work with agencies, I've worked with agencies all over the world at this point. The challenge is it's easy to focus on, did you meet the deliverables? Did you get things done? That's the competence side. But the warmth side is more complicated. The warmth side is thinking about, well, long term, how are we going to make our client contact look good? How are we going to help him or her get promoted? If they're running their business, how do we help them meet their long-term business goals? Maybe they want to retire early. Maybe they're planning to do something else to grow their business. And that's harder to do than just, did we send the email out on time? Did we launch the website? Did we take care of this or that campaign?
So if you're working with a company, working with an executive, and say they have a retention issue, they might call you. What would be the first thing that you would look at if you were going to make this a little bit more tactical for somebody? How could they take maybe the principle of warmth and competence and start doing things to change that in the organization?
Well, I would start, using sort of the medical analogy of gather the history and learn about the symptoms before making a diagnosis. I want to learn more about the retention rate they're currently seeing, and also how has that changed over time. And then would want to dig into, for the clients or customers they've lost recently, why did they leave? This is easier in professional services than in a retail business, because with professional services, you tend to have a longer ongoing relationship. You can call them up and ask, why did you leave? Whereas for, say, a retail store, customers just stop coming. There's not quite that same. I mean, yes, you can look at Yelp reviews on Google and elsewhere to see what are people saying, but it's easier when you've got a longer term client. So ultimately, I'd want to know, why are people saying that they're leaving? I've worked with some clients where I've made those calls to ask the agency's clients, why did you leave? What did they do well? What went poorly? And it can help to have a third party doing it, but you can totally do it yourself too. So find out what was going wrong.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think the next question off of that too is, so you have all this great data. Now you understand how does somebody actually take action on that? They might get themselves hung up with 10, 15 different reasons why customers are leaving. Is there a next step that makes sense?
Well, as a consultant, I'm always looking for patterns. So I look for what is the pattern. For instance, working with a client who runs an agency specializing in a particular niche industry. For all of her clients are in a particular niche industry, and one of her employees ultimately she was getting feedback. The employee was frustrating clients at the agency, and it was a mix of things. It wasn't just a single incident. It was multiple incidents. And ultimately what I realized from analyzing the situation, it turned out that the employee, although she was fairly competent, I mean, she was somewhat new, but she was learning. Ultimately, she was lacking empathy. She was pushing clients for decisions and for assets and other information without explaining why it was important to get it and why it was important to get it on certain timelines. And so ultimately to the client, they saw the agency's representative as someone who was just bugging them for stuff, and also wasn't understanding the challenges they were going through every day. And that's part of our challenge, in working in marketing for agencies in particular, which is for our clients, the work that we're doing is important, but it's usually not their top priority.
It's almost like warmth and competence is kind of like EQ versus IQ is to a certain level.
Definitely, with intelligence perhaps on the competence side and emotional intelligence on the warm side.
Definitely. Well, Karl, why should people make sure they're at Brewing Marketing and Sales Success to see your presentation?
Well, they should come because there are lots of great presentations and beer. So I hear.
Absolutely, there's certainly going to be beer.
Yeah. You've put together a great lineup, and I'm glad to be part of that. I think a key thing is, we focus on marketing as a way to develop leads in the first place, and then sales to convert them. Retention, though, is often an untapped opportunity for business profitability. There was some research that Bain did, Bain and Company, published in the Harvard Business Review a number of years ago, looking at the impact of customer retention on profitability. And based on their research, they found that if you can improve customer retention only 5%, you can boost profitability anywhere from 25 to 85%, depending on the industry you're in. So, think about all the effort you put into getting leads in the first place and converting them through the process to ultimately become paying clients or paying customers. retention is a way to maximize the investment you've made so far with people you've already got. So there's a great potential return on investment, and in terms of being there in person, I'll do Q&A, and as a consultant, people will often say, well, hey, I'd like to get your advice on such and such. Well, as a consultant, I do charge for my advice, with two exceptions. One, if you come to my weekly office hours in Raleigh, North Carolina, once a week, I'll give you whatever free advice you want in that 1 hour. Just sign up or show up. Obviously, not everyone's going to come to the in-person office hours, although I would consider it. It's at a chocolate factory. So you walk in and there's coffee and there's chocolate. It's like something out of a movie.
All right, I'm there. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, the second channel for giving free advice is when I do speaking engagements, when I'm at conferences, other events. Whatever advice people want, I am glad to share it. Anything that people share, I consider to be confidential. Obviously, if they're asking me something that's in a public space, people may be overhearing it. But in general, whatever questions you have, I'm here to help. So,
Karl, that's great. We're honored to have you at the event. And if somebody wanted to reach out to you, say you come to the event or after the event, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Best is to go to my website, which is sakasandcompany.com. That's SAKASAND, the word company.com. Have a newsletter with free advice, over 150 articles with more advice as well. And if people are interested in getting custom help, they can learn more there as well.
I'm on your newsletter too. I love it.
Thank you.
Karl, thanks so much. I'll see you in a few weeks, bud.
See you soon. Great to be here.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Hey, this is Natalie, and you just heard from one of the many speakers we'll have at Brewing Marketing and Sales Success 2016. We have a great lineup that includes David Meerman Scott, Pete Caputa, Bob Ruffolo, Karl Sakas, Luke Summerfield, Ton DeCipio, and more. The event will be held on June 3rd at Stony Creek Brewery in Branford, Connecticut. After the sessions, we'll break out the beers and you can mingle with the speakers and 150 other marketing professionals just like you. This is one event that you don't want to miss. To get your tickets, go to impactbnd.com/BMSS16. And don't forget to use the promo code EXPERTINSIGHT and you'll get 25% off your ticket. Hope to see you there. Cheers.